Texans offensive line may be depleted, but CJ Stroud has a message for fans and opponents who may think a lot of it. Let's go inside the locker room. Here's CJ Stroud at the podium.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do.
Texans get more bad injury news on the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil, Josh Jones look like they're not going to play on Sunday. A lot of fans panicking. A lot of opponents, specifically Pittsburgh Steelers fan bases, foaming out the mouth. CJ Stroud, however, has a message for you if you're feeling that way. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. We had Bobby Slowick on earlier in the day. Always good to get to know the players away from the podium, little life stuff, fun with Bobby Slowick. A little bit of insight in the loop interview. We get exclusive interviews every week. We're at every single game. We're in the locker room. Number one source for radio content on the Odyssey app and Sports Radio 610. This is the number one source for the top digital content. So come through, ride along, whether you're a Texans fan or not. I appreciate you for coming through. Get the pulse of what's going on with the Texans, who got a big one on Sunday. Chance to go 2-2 with some help coming, maybe a little bit more health. Coming off the win in Jacksonville, Texans got the Steelers in. They're very thin on the offensive line, specifically at tackle. Not an ideal time for that to be happening with one of the best players in the NFL, not just defensive players, one of the best players in the NFL, TJ Watt, coming to town. That's how CJ Stroud started his media availability. And I got to say, CJ, the one thing about him, he's always been elite at the podium. He's playing really, really well. Maybe he can get to elite status, but he's always been elite at the podium. And he was asked about TJ Watt being blocked by this depleted Texans offensive line. He had a message for those counting Texans injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I have trust and faith in my guys, and my job is to get the ball out, play on time, and do whatever it takes to execute. We're not. He's a great player, both 90 and 56. Definitely two dogs, and even up front, their D tackles are really good too. But this isn't the first time we're playing against really good DNs too. But I think he's probably the best defensive player in the league, other than Michael Parsons.
Wow,
and a couple other guys that are standing out in the league right now. But got to be aware of them. But at the same time, we got to have confidence in what we're doing, and they got to play us too. Like, we're not just going to lay down and just submit because he's the best player. We're really good players on the side too. So looking forward to competing against those guys, but got to do my part and just playing clean.
Brandon Scott's going to circle back to that, and he did good on him to get that money quote. There was a lot of meat on that bone. They got to play us too. B. Scott, who by the way was also on the show earlier today, 11 o'clock on the ISAP. One of the best media types. He's everywhere. He's in the mix. He asks the best questions. He gives some of the best insight. Shout out to B. Scott, Brandon Scott, for circling back to that. We'll get to that. But here is CJ Stroud talking about the routine. We've gotten past the injuries. Here's CJ Stroud on the routine of getting better each week. You hear that, stack good weeks, all that. Might get some cliches from CJ here as well. He's got to throw those in every once in a while. Here's CJ Stroud on the routine of getting better as a quarterback at the highest level.
Specifically, what does it take to grow as a quarterback week to week? Obviously, hard work is a large part of the equation, but what specifically do you do to improve?
Just routine, getting back to your routine, just it's not really rocket science. It's what you make it your own. Everybody kind of has their own recipe for success, and me personally, it's just my routine and turning every week for that team we're playing, and just working, just working hard, just being hard on yourself, being critical, being accountable on everybody, including yourself, and holding everybody to a standard of what it takes to win. So, I mean, that's what it takes.
All right, so just be hard on yourself, hold yourself to a standard. That's really what it takes, according to CJ Stroud. There's definitely a lot to it. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be some growing pains. Those are inevitable. He's off to a good start, and you would hope that the offensive line eventually gets better. He definitely has some help from his rookie class. CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Tank Dell, Henry Toto. You can just look at the Jacksonville game. Jared Patterson. Not very many people talk about the job he's done filling in at center, but he's gotten better. I'm not going to sit here and say he's elite. You have your starting center for the long term, but he's at least made them have to think about when Juice Scruggs, if he does come back after week 4, if it's just a no-brainer to throw him there at center. So this rookie class from top to bottom, it's been excellent. Now, is that something that they take pride in? Is that just something that happens to have worked out? Here's CJ Stroud talking about the mindset of the rookie class.
Yeah, when we first came in, we wanted to set the foundation of why they drafted. Like we all said to each other, they drafted us together for a reason. Like we all play off of each other, we all eat off each other, and we set that standard that we weren't gonna go anything short of success here, and we were gonna bring hope to the Texans. But on top of that, I mean, the guys who we kept were also great players as well. So it wasn't just the rookies trying to hold that standard and set that foundation. I think vets and rookies and guys kind of in the middle, we all came together and we said that we were going to do anything in our power to try to make plays, and those guys help us just like we help those guys, being young, energy guys. So we kind of play hand in hand, but definitely we wanted to set a foundation of who we were and where we come from and the winning cultures because everybody that we brought in were winners in college. So we kind of wanted to bring that winning mentality.
Yeah, I mean, you look at he's talking about, coming from winning programs. Obviously, him from Ohio State, Will Anderson from Alabama, Tank Dell from Houston, which, I mean, I guess, yeah, he's had winning season. Jared Patterson, Notre Dame, Henry Toto, Alabama. So, yeah, you have that. I don't know if that's necessarily like the end-all be-all, but I think it is a thing, especially with your top two guys. And it's great to see early success. And this we're not in the Nick Caserio process over results like the first couple of years. And I thought that was valid when they said it at the time. You do want to see some progress. A win streak would be nice. It's going to be 644 days on Sunday since the Texans have won at NRG. It's going to be 644 days on Sunday since the Texans have won 2 straight games. It'd be nice to see that. Depleted offensive line or not, because I think Pittsburgh's got flaws. But it is about the big picture. That they are somewhat building. It is DeMeco Ryans' first year, and there is a bigger picture. Let's hear the man who they think will be perhaps the leader of the team as this goes on, talking about that bigger picture.
I'm not a person to toot my own horn, but I don't know, man. I would say I'm mature for my age. I kind of get that from how I was raised and kind of my background, and really this is how I've been since I've been a child. So I don't know. I just feel like I kind of understand the purpose of not only football, the plays we're running, the scheme we're trying to get done, the execution, how important little details are, and it is a testament to like the football play beforehand, and then just kind of I think my mindset, how God kind of wired me, was to be really locked in on the little things. So I think little things turn into big things. Like you win little championships every day, little successes, those turn into the big ones. So, and that's why I talk about routine. Like I don't want anybody to think like I'm coming here every day doing something super crazy to like try to play as best I can. I kind of just stick to what I know, and work really hard at that. So I think that's just the big picture. It was just a little successes going into the week, trying to win those and then make it big. So.
What are the little championships? Like, is it brushing your teeth? Is it making your bed? Is it something else? I do wonder, like, what does he mean by little championships? Daily, like little championships, taking out the trash, bringing the trash in. I don't know. I'd kind of like to hear that. When we get a chance to talk to CJ, I'm going to ask him what is a little championship. The growth of CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, the growing pains are inevitable. It happens for every coach. It happens for every quarterback. You're going to go through some growing pains. Listen to CJ Stroud talking about his growth, and I thought this was hilarious. It was like a month and a half ago, preseason game number 1, where he threw the interception on the first drive. Listen to how he talks about it. And his play has come a long way since. But listen to how he talks about it, and you can tell that he's feeling a lot more mature, and he kind of has some fun with it.
Yeah, our first team meeting with the team, D'Amico, his big point was protect the team. And my first drive in a Texas uniform, I threw an interception, and of course it was a crazy to 30-26. Like I was young. I mean, I am still young, but I was a lot younger than I am now.
You were a month and a half younger. You were still 22 years. You're still 21 years old.
30-26, man. Just lick your wounds. If it's there, rip it. If it's not, check it down. Play smart. And I learned from that moment, and I learned from other moments that I had little nuances where I should have took check down there or done something else. So just learning. And I think in college, Coach Day definitely held me to a standard because he knew I could see the game well, I could read coverage, I could anticipate really well, and he always told me, like, you have what it takes to not throw interceptions, so use that. And that's something that I take pride in, is just not putting my defense in a bad position. And even against the Colts, like I felt terrible for fumbling. I got to put their hand and squeeze it on my chest, pause. But, yeah, man, I definitely got to just protect the ball.
Okay.
My bad. Yeah, my bad.
Man, that's hilarious, though, how he's talking. I mean, he's talking about it like it was 5 years ago. I was young back then. And look, there's still going to be inevitable growing pains. They're going to come, but he has for sure come a long way. Especially, I would say, and I want to ask Slowick about this, because I think this was the moment, or we actually did. We asked Slowick about this. You can go back and listen. The moment where CJ Stroud, it felt like he grew, was after he had his worst practice. And Slowick basically said, yeah, that was a big, they had the off day. That was a big moment for us. And you can go back and hear that. And it's really, really interesting just to see how much he believes he's grown. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. Subscribe, like, ride along. Best place, 100% best place, undisputed, to get the pulse of what's going on with the Texans. Exclusive interviews like the one with Slowick earlier today, and a lot more. Let's leave with this. CJ Stroud has a message for those looking at the Texans as shorthanded in talking about their injuries. Brandon Scott had him revisit it. Brandon Scott also joined the show at 11 today. I thought this was the money quote of this week's availability.
At the end, you were very sure to say, hey, they got to play us too. And then throughout the time we've been here, you talked about how the rookie class come from winners. Why is it important to have that mindset and that confidence of not just, hey, respect the opponent, but also, hey, the opponent got to respect us when we step in too?
Yeah, we men. You know what I'm saying? We ain't laying down for nobody. And I respect everybody. Like, if you made it to the NFL, that's respect. And to play against a franchise that comes from winning, that Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season, which I a ton of respect for that guy. Got to talk to him at my pro day. A great dude, great man of God. But like they would say the same thing about us. Like, you know what I mean? If we were the best players in the world too, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is really good at their job. That's why we in the NFL. But you don't tuck your tail for nobody, and you play with a confidence. But at the same time, you stay humble. Definitely, that's my MO, staying humble, but having that swagger, that confidence of a killer mindset while staying humble. And I think Deion Sanders has it really good, where
Prime time.
he's talking always about like building himself up, building like our team up, because the world shoots us down on a constant. And if we're always shooting ourselves in the foot, because don't get me wrong, we're not perfect. And the other team watches film, they know that, but they know, we all know we're going to play hard for each other, and that's all it takes, man, to get a dub and to execute. So just as important is to respect the other team, it's just as important to respect yourself and know that you are one of the best to do it in the league. And I think as a team, like, we're going to try to prove that every week and go out and play really hard. So.
Might not be one of the best, but believe in it might not hurt, especially if you're willing to put that work in. That's CJ Stroud's media availability. How about that? A little Coach Prime quote. Coach Prime not only doing his work impacting the youth in Colorado, but making an impact on the Texans. Speaking of the Texans, appreciate you for coming through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Go check out the Bobby Slowick interview. Got plenty more where that came from. Exclusive interviews throughout the week. We'll be out there in the building on Sunday. We'll be in the actual locker room interviewing players, and we got boots on the ground. And when it comes to this Texan stuff, we are all in this together. Appreciate everyone for coming through.
Landlock, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways.